question if you're have time.
I always have time for a question from the suttas. Is there anyone in the room who doesn't know what the suttas are? Make a little sign so I can... Okay. So the suttas, the Buddha, of course, taught 2,600 years ago in India. And the first recorded teachings, the first teachings that were recorded of the Buddha are these conversations, and they're called suttas. Maybe you've heard the word sutra. So sutta is just another language way of calling that. And it's a nice translation for sutta would be teaching or conversation. And so it's just a time that the Buddha said something and somebody was like, oh, that's good, that's a banger, I'm going to keep that, I'm going to write that down. So, yes, sir.
It's from the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta.
Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta?
Sure.
Okay.
Translated into setting the Wheel of Dharma in motion.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Zoom people. A question was asked by William from the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, where the Buddha gives his first teaching to his 5 former friends, former just, his 5 buddies that he used to practice with before he went off on his own. And he gives the first teaching, and the person whose name was Kondanna, you could imagine the Buddha's talking his jive to 5 people, and someone goes, gets it. And the Buddha says, oh, do you get this? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? And he said, oh, Kondanna gets it. Kondanna knows. And then thereafter, as is the style of this kind of, big event, afterward he was known as Kondanna, Kondanna who knows. And the term, the specific, or rather the kind of terminology for what happened to Kondanna, it's like, this has happened to every single person in this room. You're hearing something from someone, or you're reading something, or you're watching a video, and the light goes on, the insight happens, and you're like, I get it now, I understand. The term in this sutta, or the term in this kind of tradition of Buddhism, is the eye of Dharma opened. This is, you saw with the eye of Dharma, you saw with the eye of wisdom. So William's direct question was, the Buddha is often, or I refer to the Buddha as the one who knows, so I think that's just semantics. Yeah.
That's what I was assuming.
Yeah, it's semantics.
Someone who takes everything literal.
Yeah.
Is just like,
no, I appreciate that. And again, we're playing this 2,600-year game of telephone over thousands of miles and thousands of years and hundreds of languages. But it raises a really good point, which is there's so many good points this raises, but it's such a beautiful moment, and I know everyone within the sound of my voice has had that, where they're maybe sharing something really personal, and someone gets it, and the light goes on in their eyes. So just imagine the poor Buddha, right? These are 5 people he used to practice meditation and yoga and all this stuff with, and then he went off on his own and had this profound awakening experience. Then he goes back and he wants to tell them all about it, and they're like, who's this? Oh, you're back, huh? Look like you've been eating every day. Look, you're not even, you're wearing a whole cloth. Look like you bathe. Like, he moved away from this really rigorous, strict, punishing kind of yogic lifestyle. It's kind of, think about a hermit, wearing a hair shirt, living in a cell, going bare, And the Buddha comes back to his friends, and they're like, what happened to you? And he's telling them, how could you bridge that gulf of telling them something so deeply personal, like, I saw through all my nonsense. I penetrated my own ignorance with the light of understanding. And now I want to share with you how to do it yourself. And so he's telling these people, and the first person to get it, Kondanna, just has this total moment with the Buddha. And so that's the answer to your question, but it's such a beautiful moment. And even just think about how incredible it is that any two people could have a true meeting of the minds. You know, we hear that word, that phrase, heart to heart, all the time, right? And when I hear heart to heart, it sounds like I'm in trouble. It sounds like someone wants to take me outside and tell me what's what. And I'm like, oh boy, I better call HR right now before I can, you know, heart to heart. But to have a heart to heart, that's really something, right? So anyway, in this context, this person and the Buddha had a moment where this person completely understood for themselves what it meant. That everything is constantly changing, everything is impermanent. Everything arises due to causes and conditions, and then unravels due to causes and conditions, thus making the whole universe possible. Born, living, death, etc.